The key difference, I think, between good companies and great companies are the great companies will find somebody to help fill those gaps, right? Fill those needs. What's up, guys? It's Justin with Puetz Construction, and you're coming with me today. We got a roof going on that was a hail claim from an insurance project that also turned into an attic restoration. Really unique project that had a ton of moisture coming in due to lack of ventilation. We're gonna then head down to Winona, where we've got a siding project going on, which was also another hail claim. And then we're gonna hit a client walkthrough, and then we're gonna come back. But right now we're just right in front of our office here, which is just my home. We are looking for outside office spaces. We do have a few distractions that maybe come wandering in that are a couple feet tall. Anyways, I'm excited to bring you guys along, so let's get after it. That was our primary focus with hiring Eric, was to bring on an EOS system as a whole. And so I had known that Hook had ran on it, and a couple other friends of ours. We are the smallest of small. They'll even tell you, hey, this is not for businesses doing less than about $2 million a year. We are right about at that threshold. We should be really close to that by the end of this year, with our goal of continuing to grow. If your idea isn't to grow, you don't care about growing, well, don't invest in this. And that's fine. Like, I have a ton of friends of mine that are in the trades that are, really like, they're one-man show. Yeah. And they do an awesome job. They do a great work. They have a great set of clients, and yeah, they do work for us sometimes depending on the project. So it's not that it's for everybody, it's just for me. It's what I always wanted to do when I set out, was I wanted to grow a business. I didn't want to, create a job, right? I love, from our perspective, that we're growing something bigger than ourselves, right? So it's affecting numerous families, that not even just our clients, but also the guys who work with us, who choose to clock in and out every day, right? And it's more than just me. We are at that tipping point where I don't know if that's how everybody feels, but that's what we're working towards. And if that's what we're working towards, we also know that the team we see today may not be the team we see in a year from now. Because it's the one thing about EOS is it's getting the right people on the right bus, and then putting the right people in the right seats. Yeah. And then you worry about what direction the bus is heading, right? So the bus being the company, it's just trying to make sure you got the right people in the right seats. Yeah. And so, yeah, we're kind of in that cool transition phase where we're, really young, still working out of the house, but with Slater bothering us all the time, that little turd. No, it's super cool. And right now we're doing a ton of like different testing with, like, what does our estimate template look like? Like, what does our sales experience like? If I were to say sales experience to 9 out of 10 guys in the trades, they'd laugh at me. They'd be like, here's my number, call me if it works, which is fine, to each their own. But it's one where if you want to grow, well, you got to start considering all aspects of the business, not just what you want to consider and what you want to be doing. On a side note, Jack, when we get past this orange like big grain tower, that's the farm we grew up on. Really? Yeah. Right, if you can just barely make it out, it's right there. Yeah, we used to help bale hay over here when we were kids. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it much anymore, but oh, here we go. We're letting her rip now, boys. Wanted to quickly come over and check this one out. We've got a bit of a unique situation. So a lot of old houses will have this plank decking, we call it, right? Where you've got gaps anywhere from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, sometimes up to over an inch wide. And the problem is you're nailing rows of shingles on, an entire row of shingles could land on that gap, right? So you need to fix it. The person who put on the roof prior to this tried to fix it, and I applaud them for trying to. The problem is they put on the plywood the wrong way, and it was never fully fastened down, right? You should be able to nail the heck out of that thing, because you've got wood completely underneath it. Even if you miss the rafters, you're still hitting substrate underneath. But in this situation, because they went vertically, there's no shear strength, and there's way more ability for the house to shift over time, right? When you're building a house, you can vertically install your OSB and wall sheathing on walls. When it comes to roofs, which are carrying snow load, have a lot more pattern to shift, rafters have the ability to roll a lot more easily, it has to go horizontally, so perpendicular to the rafter. to get our materials up here, and more importantly, to get all of the waste out, we actually cut a hole in the roof and threw everything out the roof and brought everything in through the roof. So we avoided a huge mess and a huge headache for these homeowners who are, I don't think they're new parents, but they're welcoming home a new baby, which is super exciting. Really, really unique project, right? What we were actually originally called here for, we had a leak over in this section of the roof. Couldn't figure out what in the world it was coming from. Ultimately, we determined that what was actually happening was condensation was forming. Any of the airflow coming from the soffit was being choked off here. You had fiberglass insulation tucked tight up there, which just created a spot for moisture and condensation to create and nothing to move. So no air was escaping out of here. So what we did was we removed all the insulation, sprayed it to be safe with mold killer, mildew killer, all that stuff, and then started to actually air seal this. All right, you're good, Amir? Yep. Perfect, thanks, sir. How you doing, Connor?
Pretty good.
So just getting us out there and getting in the face more, right? It seemed like the right move for us. And with us, we're consistently watching, okay, here's where we landed last year. We want to get to this year, you know, from 1 to 2, right? So how do we get from 1 to 2? Well, you can't do the exact same thing as you did last year, right? The stupid, everyone quotes a definition of insanity, right? Yeah, right. It's a stupid whatever thing. But you have to make changes. And so the biggest one we did this year was to take our marketing more seriously. It is also one that I feel like when you're a small business trying to go large, you need to reach people that don't know you. And that's where marketing truly comes in, because otherwise, not that your referral network can't do it, it's just you have to be so diligent early on asking for referrals. And admittedly, that's I think a mistake I made was I just did the job and kept moving. And we had so many people calling us that who cares, right? Like it doesn't make any difference. Now I look back and I'm like, God, we could have turned that one job on that street into the whole block if we were smart about it. Well, we missed the opportunity. The best part is, yeah, we learned a ton. And so now when we're spending money on it, we're maximizing it and we're thinking, okay, hey, how can we turn this into more? Who do you know? Do you have any family or friends? Do you have any neighbors? Could you introduce us, right? But that all leads back to us. We have to knock this out of the park. We have to make sure that we're delivering a product and a service that they want to tell people about. Yeah. It can't be anything less, or it's pound sand, dude, get out of here. Thanks for the service. I appreciate you. Like, hopefully it doesn't leak. So yeah, it's diving more into marketing. We redid our whole website, which was done by Hook, which looks beautiful. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. That's right. Hook Agency. Hook Agency. Yep, check them out. I'm a millennial myself. I know exactly what I do when I look for something. I look online. That's what everybody does. Yeah. So you got to have a good online presence. You need to be doing stuff like this, social media. People want to get to know you. They want to like, know, and trust you. All of that cool stuff. Yeah, so we're gonna head out to, so we've got 2 things to do in a town about 20 minutes away, Winona, Minnesota. We are heading to go check on a job site. The guys are installing some vinyl siding for a client that got a new roof and siding from hail damage. Another potential project, doing a walkthrough with a client. And then we'll head back here, check on these guys, and should be that for the day. Pretty standard work site. Messy. I'm sorry. That's how it works. Okay. So this was a really unique property. So we call them shotgun houses, because if you took a shotgun and you shot it, you'd hit the front door right to the back. It's just a straight shot through. And there's probably 3 to 4 additions to this house that someone made way back in the day, but it's super cool. Yeah, we can go take a look quick. These old houses, the amount of detail just to make sure it's not cookie cutter, it's not easy. So, but you can just kind of see how unique this, it just keeps going further and further back. All right, one of the biggest mistakes we see with siding is over nailing, right? When you're nailing it too tight to the house. General rule is it's nice, it's not necessarily required, especially when the sun is hitting it, right? This siding is fully expanded. So the little bit of wiggle room that we do want is essentially eaten up right now. But we did see right here, you can just see just that slight wiggle. And so all that's doing is it's allowing the piece to adjust with the weather. So if you did notice over nailing, you would notice this really consistent wave into your siding. And that's just literally from every 12 to 16 inches of a nail being driven too tight and not allowing it to expand with the heat. It's the heat that actually causes that. It's not even the nail. It's the heat trying to expand the piece of siding and for it nowhere to go. So it just buckles in between each nail. Hello, hello, Kristen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
This is my brother Sam. Yep. Peace.
Oh, filling this in.
Yeah. When we're reinstalling, so we'll install, it'll be one full piece here. It would be, you'd have the gutter all installed, you'd have the whole roof built, and then you'd add that splash guard at the end, so.
Okay, so that's this area.
So then I guess, Kristen, would you like us just to quote, like, okay, removal in here,
Yeah.
we'll do maybe tile, and usually we just do like an allowance, meaning like, it's a small space, so it's not gonna make a huge difference.
Okay.
But usually like $5 a square foot or a certain number. So that way the decision doesn't need to be made today, but at least it gives you some options and flexibility. Looks like it lines up with this.
Like
So you can go 6 by,
tub
I would say tub shower, yeah, okay. All right, 5 feet by probably a 30, perfect.
All right, that was it on my
Awesome.
list. So,
Well,
thank
we'll do
you
a
for-
360 and get some measurements, but
Sounds good.
I think that really should be it.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the biggest advantages of hiring Sam and Eric was just the amount of things they took off my plate, right? When you're starting out and you're hungry and young usually and really wanting to make things work, you do everything and you work an insane amount of hours. Now I still work an insane amount of hours. However, we have so much more volume coming through our door that it's just impossible for us to get to everything when we're a one-man show. And so we're kind of going through that growing pains of figuring that out, right? How do we do more business, help more people while growing the company, right? And so that was our goal, was a strategic move of, okay, we're gonna bring Sam on from a sales perspective. So he's gonna help run appointments. He's gonna help get estimates out faster. He's also gonna help with follow-up. 3 things that admittedly I struggled at when we got very busy. Like, I'm not too proud to say that I don't do everything perfect, right? There's plenty of things. I'm sure Sam could list plenty of things that I do that could be better, right? The key difference, I think, between good companies and great companies are the great companies will find somebody to help fill those gaps, right? Fill those needs. And that's where I hope we're headed, right? Is filling those spots that absolutely need to be met, those demands that are there, but at the same time, not losing the essence of the company. And so that's also where Eric helps. Eric helps more on the back side. So while Sam and I are more frontward facing, forward focused, whichever. Either way, we're focusing more on bringing business into the company, where Eric is more focused on really maximizing our efficiencies on the job site, making sure we're using material properly, and making sure we're staying in touch with our clients that have projects coming up, keeping our crews on schedule, making sure that everybody knows exactly what's happening. The biggest lesson I learned was that there is only 24 hours in a day, and as silly as everybody tells you that, you just can't make more. And if you want anything of a life, you need to learn how to delegate. And even all the way back to EOS, that delegate and elevate step, that lesson has been critical. So no, it was very early on last year, I quickly learned, boy, I just can't do all of this and do all the stuff that I'm really good at. I'm maybe not the greatest at bookwork or the greatest at sending out the back end stuff, or even just making sure that, hey, the crews have everything they need, right? So this also helps take weight off of their shoulders. Yeah, it was a huge lesson to make sure that you're not taking on too much to then essentially choke on it. So yeah. All right, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for coming along today. I really appreciated you just tagging along on our day. We took a look at 3 different things, really, right? We had a roof project going on with some pretty major sheathing surprises that needed to come up. Not unheard of in our industry, but nonetheless, still a surprise. We then went and checked out our siding project down in Winona, swung over to a potential client's project where we just looked at a walkthrough where we're gonna quote a project for this family. And then we ended our day back at that same roof. So all 3 projects, gotta check each one of those out. and it was a ton of fun. So I really appreciate you tagging along, and a huge shout out to my guy Jack Miller from Hook Agency. Subscribe to their YouTube channel, and I just appreciate his time and energy put into all of these different videos. Thank you so much, guys, and thanks everybody at Hook, and anyways, yeah, get after it.